SABC News reporter Samkele Maseko joins us now from Luthuli House, where the ANC early on briefed the media on various issues. Samkele, good afternoon. At this point, perhaps you could just take us through the gist of the media briefing and really what transpired.
Well, Liesl, at this point in time, the spokesperson of the African National Congress, Mahlengi Bhengu-Motsiri, essentially outlining that the deputy sheriff coming here to Luthuli House was unlawful, as there was a mail communication between the legal team of Luthuli House and Ezulwini on Friday to say that they must hold up on having the sheriff coming to seize the assets of Luthuli House, as they have approached the Constitutional Court on a matter of principle to challenge this debt of 150 million. The ANC has also said that they have laid criminal charges against those Luthuli House employees who flouted procurement processes of the ANC within the supply chain management system of the governing party. But we also do know that this historical contracting of Ezulwini dates back to the days of the late Ignatius Jacobs, when he was the general manager of Luthuli House. Then head of elections was Fikile Vuta Mbalula, the now Secretary General of the ANC, who is fully abreast with the particular matters of Ezulwini dating back to when he was head of elections. But they did have their officials meeting earlier on today in Sandton. Subsequent to that, they had their National Working Committee meeting, which I'm not yet sure if it's concluded or is still ongoing. But we are joined by the spokesperson of the ANC, Ms. Mahlengi Bhengu-Motsiri. Just the essence of what transpired with the sheriff or the deputy sheriff coming here to Luthuli House to see some of the assets. What happened in the morning?
Well, I think you have summed it up, Samkele. The deputy sheriff should not have been here. We are not certain of the reasons behind creating such a spectacle when the ANC had already communicated formally that it has approached the Constitutional Court. It is very curious, as we say in our statement, as to why the deputy sheriff was here. In a correspondence between our legal manager with the sheriff, a verbal apology was transmitted to the ANC. But I did, on behalf of the Secretary General, request that we do have a formal apology, because this was quite serious. We had members of the media here for something that should not have happened. Because if you look at the Superior Court's Act of 2013, is very specific in Section 18 and Section 49 about what you do under circumstances where there's been appeal to a higher court of the land.
Why don't you just settle this 150 million debt? I mean, your president is a billionaire. He was caught with money and pala in dollars. Your deputy president is also financially afloat. As you can see, he's got a 37 million rands house in Waterfall. Leaders of the ANC were flaunting Dolce & Gabbana in France in the form of the Secretary General. You've got ANC former leaders who are filthy rich in this country, whom should be chipping in to help you fit this bill. Why are they not?
Well, you're conflating issues there, Samkele, totally conflating issues that are unrelated. Pala has got nothing to do with the fact that the ANC has got to have a sound financial governance architecture. Part of that means procurement policies that we have adopted have got to be followed to the T, and we are being dutiful to that. It's a matter of principle. It has less to do with whether we have the money or not.
If you speak about a matter of principle, but there were legally signed papers by Ignatius Jacobs, supposedly also by Fikile Mbalula, on this particular matter, you have lost at the Supreme Court of Appeals. You've got to have compelling reasons to be able to gain direct access to the Constitutional Court on this matter. Do you think you will be given that direct access? And should you not be given that direct access, what do you then do?
Well, we are approaching the Constitutional Court because it's a right that we can exercise, like any other South African and like any other party. But we're not beholden to the outcome of the Constitutional Court. We will have to exercise a number of other options, a number of them that are available. I do, though, want to assure members of the ANC in particular, and supporters of the ANC across the length and breadth of our country, that this organization is not going to be liquidated. by any stretch.
But if you speak about this organization not being liquidated, the last time the ANC had a healthy bank balance was when the late struggle stalwart Bamendim Simang delivered his financial report in the 2007 Polokwane conference. Subsequent to that, 2012, Mangawung, Matthews Posa it was not so good. It was not such a rosy picture, despite them being able to pay salaries from Zwelim Kize to Paul Mashatile. It was just a downward spiral from there.
I can only speak about what I do know, what the ANC is currently doing under the leadership and the stewardship of our Treasurer General, Dr. Gwen Ramogopa. We have actually put out our TG to explain the work that she is doing on behalf of the organization to make sure that there is financial sustainability. We're absolutely satisfied with the work that she is doing, and we believe that a whole lot more is still coming. So I'm certain that the statement I'm making is informed by the current financial reports that we receive on a regular basis. Quite comfortable with the support that we have both here and elsewhere.
But when you look and saying that you are financially afloat, just this weekend's papers spoke about an organization that's in the red, that may not have the financial muscle to fight an all-important election where you are at your weakest in history.
And I noted that that same publication used statistics or data from the previous financial year. So that's something for you to think about. We can say that fast forward, some great work has been done.
Can I challenge you to give the SABC direct access to those financials of this financial year to see that you are indeed financially afloat? Because you can't just take your word for it without seeing tangible proof.
Well, I would suppose that you would have to ask of that from all the other political parties. This expectation that the ANC must be the only political party that discloses all of its internal matters must also be tested.
I mean, the DH has received 37 million rands worth of donations, which is declared to the IEC recently, which says that they are sustainably afloat, better now than they were doing in the days of Mmusi Maimane.
And of course, there are also a number of opiners that talk about the amounts and volumes of cash that flows in the direction of the DA. That is that 37 million that you're talking about is minuscule. It's actually, I don't know, peanuts compared to the kind of funding levels that is received. And I don't want to talk about the DA here because our strategy is all about positive messaging.
Lastly, just your response to the former outgoing chairman of First Rand Bank, Mr. Jardine, who is supposedly being quoted by the Democratic Alliance and the Multi-Party Charter to be the presidential candidate, knowing that he comes from the ranks of the Congress movement and the United Democratic Front?
Well, I don't have a message to him. We note what is said to be unfolding. I also personally know Comrade Roger Jardine. But if he has made certain choices in accordance with the Bill of Rights and the Constitution of South Africa, we have to accept that. And we will find each other, we will meet each other on the ground, in the battlefield.
But, you know, this is a matter of, it's a very important question, and it speaks to the conscience of those 80 directly elected NEC members and ex-officio members from the leagues and also from the provinces. When you look at the leaders and the type of leaders that sit in that National Executive Committee of the ANC, and you look at their personal wealth, you look at former leaders of the ANC and their personal wealth, and you look at how the very same party that supposedly made them those millionaires and those billionaires, what do you think their conscience says to them when it can't pay a bill of 150 million rands, knowing that they sit comfortably where they are? In isiZulu we say badla izambane likapondo, but what fed them is struggling.
Well, you're taking me back to my earlier response, Samkele. And I'm not going to go into that particular discussion or that particular trajectory. But I do want to say also Roger Jardine is a direct beneficiary of the policies of the African National Congress and the struggles of the African National Congress, he himself having been a contributor to that struggle, but has benefited a lot in terms of, you look at his traction in the private sector. There are many. It's not only those that are within the ANC. But I wouldn't want to venture into that kind of conversation because for me it deflects attention from the real issues we should be facing in terms of renewing the organization and renewing society.
Thank you very much. That is the spokesperson of the ANC, essentially saying that they are on top of this matter. They are going to the Constitutional Court on a matter of principle, and that the deputy sheriff should have not come to Luthuli House because they did communicate with the sheriff's office and they did communicate with the legal team of Ezulwini, saying that they must hold off as they have applied for direct access to the Constitutional Court to challenge this particular matter, Lizo.
All right, Samkele, thank you for that update. We'll leave it there for now.